am Sure Sports. You know me there, from coast to coast representing. I mean, I say this is Righteous representing for Omar. You don't know, come get the sports over here from near and far. Boy. Me say I am Sure Sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over air. Come subscribe, repost and share. I am Sure Sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over air. Come subscribe, repost and share. If me not sure, that me not say it. Know who score, that me not say it. Never know no game play, that me not say it. If me never see no game, me no know who play. For your sports news, better come over here so. For your soccer news, then come over here so. If you don't love sports, still come over here so. For the date done, you a go love over here so.
So when it comes on to behavior concerning football, Jamaica is decent. I am sure that if we can get all of these things done, set in place by the end of April, it gives us enough time before the World Cup campaign. Not afraid of no Brazil, no Argentina with these crap of players. We are good enough. Remember to like, subscribe, share. Listen, comment, let me know what your thoughts are.
Made up of 18 Jamaican herbs and spices. Add delicious, bold flavor to your next grilling experience. Flavoring sauce, a marinade, basting, condiment, or topping. Trick Nick Jerk Barbecue Sauce.
Trick Nick Jerk Marinade gives your meats and vegetables authentic Jamaican jerk flavor. The spices are directly from Jamaica. Spices like jerk seasoning, allspice, Scotch bonnet pepper, fresh scallions, thyme, ginger, and garlic. The key ingredients to a great jerk marinade. 0% sugar and low in sodium. You want to try it?
Hey, good evening and welcome to I Am Sure Sports. I'm your host, Maninsman. We have a good one lined up for you, but we're having a little bit of technical difficulties with our guest, so we are trying to work that out behind the scenes, and then as soon as we do, we will be up and running and up and gunning. But let me just say a big good evening to you wherever you're watching from today. Welcome to I Am Sure Sports. I'm your host, Maninsman, and I really appreciate your company as usual. Let me say a big thank you also to the sponsors of this video. Yes, the sponsors of this video are Launch Legacy. Launch Legacy, where they handle risk and seek legacy for all your personal insurance needs in Canada and the USA. Visit them at launchlegacy.com or call or text 647-989-0782. That's Launch Legacy. All right, please make sure you check them out. Also want to say a big thank you to Prestige Finance, lending a helping hand when you need it most. They're located in Linstead, St. Catherine, and they are able to offer you a loan of up to 100,000 Jamaican dollars, low interest rate, 0 to 4%. And here's what, no processing fee and same day processing. So check them out as we big up all our sponsors. To all the persons in the comment section, again, we are seeking to sort out stuff with our very special guest. So don't worry, it's going to be a good one. And I promise you, it will be worth the wait. So let me entertain you with our, I am sure, jingle in the meantime as we await our guest to come on.
Welcome to I Am Sure Sports.
I am sure sports. You know me there, from coast to coast representing. I mean, I say this is righteous representing for Omar. You don't know, come get the sports over here from near and far. Boy. Me say I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. If me not sure, that me not say it. Know who score, that me not say it. Never know no game play, that me not say it. If me never see no game, me no know who play. For your sports news, better come over here so. For your soccer news, then come over here so. If you don't love sports, still come over here so. For the day done, you are gonna love over here so.
So when it comes on to behavior concerning football, Jamaica is decent. I am sure that if we can get all of these things done, set in place by the end of April, it gives us enough time before the World Cup campaign. Not afraid of no Brazil, no Argentina with these crapper players. We are good enough. Remember to like, subscribe, share. Listen, comment. Let me know what your thoughts are.
You cut off the phone.
Made up of 18 Jamaican herbs and spices, add delicious, bold flavor to your next grilling experience. Flavoring sauce, a marinade, basting, condiment, or topping. Trick Nick Jerk Barbecue Sauce.
All right. Yeah, sorry about the delay. Like I said, our guest is going to be here. And sometimes when things are going to be excellent, there are many obstacles that arise in the way, but we are going to surpass them all and put on a very good one for you this evening. We have today our special guest will be Mr. Andrew Price. Mr. Andrew Price is a former St. George's College Walker Cup, Manning Cup winner, right? Yes, also played for Boys Town for many seasons, winning titles there. He also played college football. We're going to hear about that. Coach Boys Town. He has been a part of the national coaching setup from the female side to the beach side. Now he coaches, at Humble Lion, and they have been on a resurgence in the JPL. Like I said, it promises to be a good interview. He's having a little bit of technical difficulties, and we're working to get those going. Hope you're doing well. Looking forward. Listen, if you have your questions, remember, you can just start by punching those in, and as much as possible, we'll try to respond to all of them. Again, big up to every person in the comment section, to all our subscribers as well. A big thank you to you. Our platform continues to grow daily, and we are happy for that. It would not have happened without you. To all the persons who share and tell somebody else about it, you're part of the growth process. Please continue to do so. Our desire is by the end of March, we'd love to be at the place where we have a minimum of 3,000 subscribers. It's just a goal that we have. So we're hoping that you can help us as a part of that journey. Let me say also, there's a former Manning School footballer, arena footballer, and also played for the under 23s for Jamaica. Got a couple of senior call-up. His name is Mr. Alden Blacker Bailey. He is celebrating his birthday today. So happy birthday, Sir Bailey. Big ball, one of the good ones that came out of the great 1738, the Manning's High School. Yes. So big up to Fresh God, Owen, as usual. So good to have you in the building. Also see Damian Hyatt. Bless up, big keeper. Avani Bear. Good evening to you. Been a while. I feel like that is Shem Jackson. And she's using maybe one of her daughter's profile. I don't know. Yeah, she's big heart emoji at the end. That's not normally what an adult lady puts up on social media. So figure that maybe her daughter's profile she's using. Cashew Red, bless up to you as well. Neo Sovereign, so good to have you. So good to see you this evening. The old Marian in the building. Yes. Boris Johnson, Coach Boris, big up, big keeper. Hey, look there, man. Kirk Porter in the building, Mr. Boystown himself. Nobody no pause. Yeah, man. Kirk Porter, the big keeper. Bless up, keeper. Yeah, man. Yeah, Horace Countryman Holmes, good to see you as well. Yes, and I see the one and only, the man who played against Mr. Price way back in 1983, Mr. Carlton Cloggy Alexander. I hope he's not in here to give some Cornwall College banter to the St. George's, man, you know. I hope that's not the case. Mr. Carlton Alexander. So, yep. So, let's see. Like I said, we're having a little bit of a challenge getting our guest on. He's having some difficulties on his side, and we're trying to work that through so he can come on. He's here. He tried a couple of times. It's not working. So it's going to happen, people. So don't worry. Stick and stay until we get into it. Ryan LFC. He knows this man very well. You know, he used to coach Ryan LFC and put Ryan LFC on the bench. Bless up, Ryan LFC in the building. Good to have you, my friend. As usual, always a pleasure having other persons who are putting out content out there, quality content in the sporting space. So bless up. Christopher Carroll, the man of God. Blessing, man, grace and peace be multiplied to you. Always a pleasure having you as well, supporting through, just your kind words and always words of encouragement, and also, praying for the work and thing. Understand me? Yeah. So bless up. Let me see. I don't know. So we need to touch base, like I said, with Mr. Price, because he's here. And I don't know. These things always happen. You work them out and they work perfectly. And then in no time, they start acting up again. Elvis Hart. Bless up. Yeah, man. Beaver in the building. Big keeper from down a village. You understand me? Yeah, Stone Love. The only big sound around. No, Cataract a small sound compared to the mighty, big Stone Love in the building. Bless ups to Stone Love in the building. Cataract, enough respect, my friend. Enough respect. You understand me? Good to know that you're well and out of the medical facility and you're at home with your family. Always good to know that people are in the best of health and in good health. All right. So give us a second. Let us see if we can just get this out. We will be back with you in 45 seconds. Let's see.
Welcome to I Am Sure Sports.
I Am Sure Sports. You know me there, from coast to coast representing. I mean, I say this is right, just representing for Omar. You don't know, come get the sports over here from near and far. Boy. Me say I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. If me not sure, that me not say it. Know who score, that me not say it. Never know no game play, that me not say it. If me never seen a game, me not know who play. For your sports news, better come over here so. For your soccer news, then come over here so. If you don't love sports, still come over here. For the day done, you are gonna love over yourself.
So when it comes on to behavior concerning football, Jamaica is decent. I am sure that if we can get all of these things done, set in place by the end of April, it gives us enough time before the World Cup campaign. Not afraid of no Brazil, no Argentina with these crap of players. We are good enough. Remember to like, subscribe, share. Listen, comment. Let me know what your thoughts are.
All right, I think we are good to go. Finally, I think we are good to go. So let's bring up. I don't want to say the big man himself because I mean it's a play on words, people. So let's bring up the big man himself. The only issue we have, today when we meet is that. Let me just say, good evening, Mr. Price.
Good evening, Mannins man. Thanks for having me, and good evening to all your viewers out there in Cyberland.
Yeah, man. So good to have you. The one thing is that people, let me tell you, the only reason why he's wearing red is because he supports Liverpool. All right. So
No, Arsenal. Don't do that. Arsenal.
There you go. Listen, I'm telling you, great mind think alike, So I'm an Arsenal man, so this is going to be a good Arsenal interview. Not an Arsenal interview, a good interview, because when two Arsenal men meet, the discussion is going to be high caliber. All right.
Without a doubt.
But welcome, and so good to have you. I mean, you have many of your past players in terms of persons who you played against, and persons from your alma mater watching, persons who you have coached also watching. So they're out here listening to you. So I will say to you, please guard your words carefully, lest you offend any of them.
No, you see, one thing with me, Mannins man, I am always comfortable uttering my words.
Okay, all right, wonderful. So again, good to have you. Welcome to I Am Sure Sports Surprise. As usual, we begin by just asking you to chronicle your journey with us, starting with your days at St. George's, all the way to your successful years at Boys Town. But as you chronicle that journey,
Yes.
I was asked specifically, I will not call his name, by one person that you must take a stop at the 1993 Olivier Shield and discuss that, right? So as you chronicle your journey and you get to that point, you will have to take some time. And the person is from Cornwall College, just let you know that.
I would expect that.
So go ahead, sir.
Okay, my football chronicles started when I was 9 years old. I played in the Alberga Cup prep school competition for Alpha Kinder Prep, and I started playing at about 8, 9, playing with older boys. I like the sport, and I started to participate in it. One of my fondest memories is we got to the semifinals in my last year, which was 1978, where we played Wolmer's Prep in a playoff to see who was to go to the final, and people like Isaacs and Michael Frey were a part of that Wolmer's team.
That's Peter Isaacs?
That's correct, Peter Isaacs. And I'm going to give you a story that you wouldn't believe. At that age, Peter Isaacs was a goalkeeper. He was actually keeping goal for Wolmer's Prep. So we lost 1-0 in that semifinals, and Wolmer's went on to play Peter and Paul in the finals, and they lost to Peter and Paul. But people like Mikey Frey and Peter Isaacs, I've known them all my life, and from we are youngsters, and we have matriculated through the entire system, through high school, national team, juvenile team, and we have known each other for quite a long time. It ended up that Peter and I started to play at Boys Town together back in the late 80s, early 90s.
I didn't know that Peter Isaacs plays for Boys Town. We don't get there. I thought he was.
Yes, of course. Peter Isaacs played for Boys Town. Yeah, he played for Boys Town.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, there are several players that I played with that played in that prep school football competition. Peter and Paul had Chris and Nicholas Zade that also played on that Peter and Paul team. So a lot of us knew each other from prep school football as we continued our football career. From there, I passed for St. George's College and entered in 1978. And then the first year, we won the Pepsi Cup. And one of the significant things about that team is that entering first form, we all stayed together until we left school, and we were able to win about 10 trophies together as a unit. So we learned, we developed, we improved with each other at the varying stages. From Pepsi, we won 2 Colts trophies, 1980 and 1981. In 1980, we beat JC 2-1 at the National Stadium. First time I was getting the opportunity to play in the National Stadium.
1981. Wow.
The game was right before a semi-final game in the DeCosta Cup. It was a doubleheader. The first game was the Colts finals, St. George's College versus JC, and the second game was Dintil Technical versus Titchfield. And in that game, you had people like Paul Newman, Dion Messi, Wilmot playing against a Titchfield team. You know, so that was our first encounter at the National Stadium.
Dr. Chin was on the Titchfield team.
Oh, yes, Kingsley Chin played for that Titchfield team. Yes,
and
Dr. Kingsley Chin played.
Rudolph Speed was on it too.
No, he came after. He came after.
Oh, okay.
He came after. Yes. Yeah. So we won that year, and then the following year we played Wolmer's in the finals, and we won again 2-0. But like I said, that nucleus of players stayed together. You know, people like Christopher Buckridge, he was the captain of our team. Christopher Morgan, Brian Hamilton, Skitter Hamilton, Garfield Piercy, myself, Warner Garrell. We all stayed together and won trophies right through our time at St. George's College. After winning that Colts competition, then I moved on to starting to play Manning Cup. My first year was in 1982, and we played that season, and we were drawn in a zone with Kingston College.
So you didn't play Pepsi? You didn't play Pepsi?
Yeah, we won Pepsi the first year I was there. So that was the first trophy we won under 13 Pepsi. Okay, yeah. And then we won 2 Colts title. And then after that, I moved on to the Manning Cup team. Okay. My first year was in 1982. And we played in a zone, as I told you before, with Trenchtown, KC, and Campion and Arden. And we won the zone comfortably. We beat KC 1-0 in the top of the table clash to move on to the semifinals. But unknown to us, one of the players that we had was overage. And as a matter of fact, we got kicked out of the competition after winning the zone. So that was the year we got disqualified for using a overage player.
Was this a player who was with you guys from...
Yeah, no, he wasn't. You know, he was a player that transferred from Trenchtown, and he came to St. George's, and unbeknown to us, you know, he was overage. So it was a difficult pill to swallow, because I still have some regrets, and one of the regrets is that we were unable to play that 1982 Camperdown Manning Cup team that actually won the Manning Cup that same year that we got disqualified. You know, people like Peter Cargill, Andrew Bauer Hines, Barrington Cabra Gainer.
You wanted to play that.
It would have been an interesting final. And I really regret not having the opportunity.
To play against that Camperdown team?
Yes, to play against that Camperdown team. They lost, they beat KC in the finals. I think it was 2-0 or 1-0. And I really would have relished playing against that team. But it wasn't to be. And what happened then is that we turned our attention, our coach, Dennis Zadie, God rest his soul, decided to resurface Winchester Park. At that time, it was a dust bowl. I was in one of the classrooms that faced the field, and anytime after 1 o'clock, and the breeze would start to blow, it would blow the dust into the classroom, and we had to lock the windows so that the dust couldn't come in. So Mr. Zaidi started a project where we were going to rebuild the field, where we dug up the field, regrassed it, and it took almost an entire off season to get it ready for the new Manning Cup season in 1983. And we were able to grass the field with the help of some old boys from past years that assisted us in, grading the field, sanding it, and also getting grass from Caymanas estate out by the golf course, and we grassed that field and turned it into a oasis. And to this day, it's one of the better fields in Jamaica right now. We use it as a catalyst to unite. We work together. We were there on Saturdays. We were there on Sundays of a team. We were taking out stones out of the graded field, and it really gelled us together. And I think that was a catalyst why we were so successful in 1983 when we won the Manning Cup. We had a transfer from Arden at the time, Paul Littlejohn, God rest his soul. And between himself and our captain, Richard Strachan, Richard actually captained me when I was at Alpha Prep. So he has captained me for most of my life. We have a friendship for over going on almost 5 decades. You could call it.
Who was in your group this time around, and who was in your semi-final?
Well, in this round of the Manning Cup was 2 zones. So you actually played about 10 teams. So each zone was loaded with about 11 to 12 teams, and we actually played 10 teams. And we went unbeaten for the entire season. We didn't lose a game. Our only blemish that season is when we drew 1-1 with Excelsior at Sabina Park. Excelsior had people like Charlie Miller, who used to play for Tivoli Gardens in the Premier League, but he started out there. Stafford Fong were some of the players. Owen Buster was one of the players there. So, a lot of those players played on that team. So we ended up playing Tivoli in the finals. Because Tivoli won that zone. They came out of a very tough zone. They were in the next group where they and Camperdown were ding-dong for the entire season. And it ended up that Tivoli beat Camperdown in the final game, and they qualified for the finals. So we ended up playing Tivoli Gardens at Sabina Park in the finals. It was a ding-dong battle. I had the privilege to mark a man called Howard Dean Greensworth from Tivoli Gardens. He was their marksman, their forward. And in goal for them was a man called Styler Richardson, excellent goalkeeper. I think for the entire season, he probably conceded 1 goal. So it was going to be a very tough battle, our potent offense against their defense.
Yeah.
Well, we had extra time, and we couldn't break the deadlock. And we went into penalty kicks. We scored our first 3 penalties, and then Tivoli missed 2. And then I was given the 4th penalty to seal the deal. But unfortunately, nerves got me, and I kicked the ball wide. As a matter of fact, I have a picture of that penalty where I took it, where you saw a cloud of dust with the white chalk, but the ball didn't end up in the net. So my fellow defender, Dwayne Brooks, stepped up and scored, and we ended up winning the Manning Cup that year for the first time since 1959 at the Sabina Park. My recollection was that Edward Seaga, the Right Honorable Edward Seaga, former Prime Minister of Jamaica, he was at the match because, as you know, he was a patron of the Tivoli Gardens football team. So I had fun memories there.
Yeah.
After that, now we went into the Walker Cup finals where we meet Excelsior again, and another big battle took place at the National Stadium, and we ended up winning that game 2-1. So we were the Walker Cup champions. From there now, we moved on to the Oliver Shield finals, where we played Cornwall College.
Yeah.
The first leg was played down at Cornwall College at the actual school. And I'll give you a story about that game. Richard Strand scored a goal, and he was a very ferocious kicker, one of the hardest kickers I have seen in my lifetime. I mean, the only person I can compare him with would be Ali McNabb. But he struck the ball very hard, very clean hit of the ball, but he had a ferocious left foot. Cornwall had a goal, and at the back of the goal, they had a stanchion that assisted holding up the net. And Strawn kicked that ball with so much power that it went in and flowed so quickly that people were in disbelief that it scored. The referee pointed for the goal, and what happened after that was that the people in the crowd at Cornwall decided that that couldn't have scored because it hit the bar. But it didn't hit the bar, it hit the stanchion behind the goal after it went into the net. So the game was held up for a while, and there were a lot of bottles that were thrown, and they had to bring the army in to quell the crowd in the stands. And the match ended 1-1. So then we moved on now to the National Stadium the following Wednesday to play Cornwall in the second leg. And it was the only game that we lost that entire season. We lost 2-0 to Cornwall. We just picked the wrong day not to play well. And, Carlton Claggy Alexander, he scored a header.
That's right. That is why he wanted to talk about it, because
yes, to this day I don't know how he outjumped me and scored that header, but he outjumped me. Normally people don't outjump me, and he outjumped me and scored that header, and we ended up losing the Oliver Shield to Cornwall 3-1 on aggregate. Yeah. But then there was some redemption. That year was the first year that they had something called the Nutriment Shield. And the Nutriment Shield was when the Walker Cup champions would play against the Ben Francis champions. And it happened that fortuitously, St. George's College won the Walker Cup and Cornwall College won the Ben Francis. So we got an opportunity to play them again at Jarrett Park for the final game of the season, which was the Nutriment Shield. So we played them in the Nutriment Shield, and we exacted revenge on them, and we won that game 3-0 in Montego Bay in front of their crowd, because they had come to Kingston and beat us at the National Stadium. So we went back and we beat them 3-0 at Jarrett Park. So we got redemption. So they won 3 trophies and we won 3 trophies. We didn't win the 3 that we wanted, but we won 3 trophies and they won 3 trophies also. So
that season,
Claggy, those were good times. People, I remember people like Anthony Briggy-Leard, great players. Weatherly, a lot of good Cornwall players. A lot of players that we developed a lot of friendship with. Certain Thompson. I mean, there are so many of those. Wrench in goal. I mean, all those guys were my good friends, and
and then you would have ended up playing all schools. They would have been a part of
all schools, all Manning, all schools, all Manning, all the Costa would have played together. But
how did the all Manning, all the Costa Cup game go that season?
That season, I think we lost the all Manning to an all the Costa game to all the Costa. Kenneth Blacksgainer was playing for Rusty's at the time, and he made the team through. And he scored. I think he scored a winning goal for that game. So the team won that year. But one of the good things about the rivalry that we had with Cornwall College, it was so good. I remember when Paul Littlejohn died the following year. Something that really touched my heart was that Steve Buckner and about 6 of the Cornwall players in their uniform and their jackets came to the funeral to support us
Whoa.
in our bereavement, and I really appreciate it. And it's something that stood out with me for years. I mean, we only knew each other through playing against each other during that whole Oliver Shield, and for them to take the time, and
Yeah.
that's why I have a lot of respect for Steve Buckner, Steve Gabby Buckner, because he came there with the Cornwall College team, and he came to the funeral and showed his support, and we really appreciated him for that.
Yeah. Interested. That was your final year at St.
No,
George's?
the final year was the following year, which was 1984.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I can't differentiate which team was a better team because the teams were different but very similar. I think we had power and precision with the 83 team, but I think the 84 team was laden with skill. We had Christopher Zadie, we had Brian Skitter Hamilton.
Were they part of the 80? Christopher Zadie?
Yes, they were part of the 83 team also. So
right.
You have to understand that by 1984, now we were on full throttle. We were fully developed. We understood each other. We were playing together from first form. This was basically our last year together as a group. Mark Murray, several of us. So it was an excellent team. We knew each other. Raymond McCoy and myself in defense, Nick Zadie and Garfield Piercy, our captain at the fullbacks, and in the middle of the park you had Brian Skitter Hamilton and Chris Zadie dictating. Roger Lynn up front.
Oh yeah,
Roger Lynn, who used to play for Reno.
Right.
You had David Sinclair, Cinco. He was up front there, and of course the talisman and MVP Christopher Chipper Morgan.
Oh, he was the first MVP.
He was the first MVP. Yes, he was awarded MVP at the All Manning game.
That's 1984.
That's 1984. Yes, he was awarded the MVP in 1984. So that was the year. We drew a very easy zone. Our first game we beat Charlie Smith 5-0. Then we beat Meadowbrook 3-0. We beat KC in the Battle of North Street Giants. We beat them 2-1. They had scored first. And then David Sinclair scored a double. And then we beat Calabar 1-0. And then we played Wolmer's in the very last game of the round. We are already qualified for the second round. And we gave up the game 1-0 after Michael Forbes, our excellent goalkeeper, made an error. And I think that was the turning point that took away the complacency of the team. So we basically went into the semi-final round smarting from that loss. And we played, we had 2 games that we had to play to win. We beat Tivoli in a very contentious game at the National Stadium where we won the game 1-0 through a Roger Lynn goal. Bottles were also thrown at that game because Tivoli had a centre by the name of Danny Dredd who got a red card. And after he got the red card, a lot of bottles were thrown out of the stadium to be escorted out of the stadium. So, you had some ups and downs and some thrills and spills during that season. So we ended up playing Excelsior in the last game of the season. And that game, we only needed a draw from that game, and we ended up drawing the game 0-0. So we got into the finals against a very good JCT. So we played JC in the finals. The finals was played on a Saturday. I mean, the stadium was packed, ram jam, and the game ended 0-0. But Issa in there, and I think it's the first time it has ever happened in the history of the Manning Cup, there was a replay.
Oh, yes,
Something happened with the lights, and we were unable to actually finish the game, to even go into extra time or penalty kicks. And when Issa saw the crowd, they said to themselves, we can make some money again Monday. So they decided to put on the game on Monday as a replay at 5 o'clock so that people could leave work and come to the game. And believe me, man, the stadium was packed again that Monday evening. JC took the lead very early, and they were leading 1-0. It was a good JC team, you know, Ferdinand McKenzie, Michael McDonald, Richard Pat Cover McDonald, Bullhead was on that team, Fred Butler was on that team, you know, a lot of, you know, players that we have remained friends throughout the years.
This is the game, he said, the goalkeeper.
Yes, this is the game. You know, I know Coach Jimmy Sinclair wouldn't want me to mention it, but it was a game that they were leading 1-0 in the second half, and the game was changed when their goalkeeper threw a ball out, and Mark Murray intercepted it about little over the half line and controlled it. And on the volley, he kicked a ball from a good 40 yards out, and the ball did not touch the ground until it hit the back of the net. And that was 1-1 at the time. And then Christopher Morgan, with his speed and pace, got behind the JC defense and lobbed the ball over the keeper 2-1. So we won the Manning Cup that year, beating JC. A very good team. I remember Dennis Zady saying one of the things that was so unfortunate, he didn't like to beat people that he loved. As you know, he coached Jimmy Sinclair on that 1974 winning Manning Cup team for Jamaica College. So he ended up coaching JC that year. So he had a close relationship. So it was a bittersweet situation for him. But we were elated and happy to have won the Manning Cup in 2 consecutive years.
Hey, but you won? Did you win the Walker Cup that year as well?
Yeah, we won the Walker Cup that year too. We played Calabar in the semifinals. We gave them 2-0. We beat them 2-0, and then from there we beat Excelsior again in the final 1-0. Another Mark Murray goal. He scored a header in that goal, so we won that game 1-0. And after that, now it was on to the prestigious Oliver Shield, where we played a Rossi's team with Tanel. You're talking about people like Donald, Jimmy Hewitt in the middle of the park. Capel Lawrence, Cantiel, you know, they had some good. Linton Kong Stewart at right back, their captain.
Wasn't he an MVP as well? He was MVP.
He was MVP the following year, 1985. Chris Morgan was the MVP that year. But it was a very good team, you know, and you know, we played against them. The first leg was played in Kingston. Mark Morris scored again in that final. He scored in all the finals that we played that year. And I also, even as a defender, I scored a goal in that game. And so we went down to Jared Park with a 2-0 lead to play Rossi's in the second leg. And we did the job. The game was drawn 0-0, and we won the Oliver Shield that year. As it would happen, we played our regular nemesis, Cornwall College, in the Nutriment Shield, because Cornwall had won the Ben Francis. So now we had to play them in the Nutriment Shield.
This is the best of 3.
Yes, the best of 3. And this would have been an opportunity for us to be the first school to win 4 titles in one season. And I remember that it was the final match that we were playing, and we played this Cornwall team. And I don't know, Cornwall seems to have a lot of luck at the National Stadium, because Anthony Laird scored and they were leading 1-0. Nicholas Zady made an error and he was able to get behind him and score. Chris Zady scored an excellent goal to make it 1-1, and very deep in the game, Anthony Laird got away again and scored, so they ended up winning the game 2-1. So that crashed our opportunity to have won 4 titles, which Rossi's did the following year in 1985. So we became very close.
I think Rossi's had back all of those players that you defeated.
Exactly, that we defeated. They had back all those players back. And it was very similar to us, that we kept our players together for so long. So, you know, those players were well seasoned. I remember doing an article in the Observer where I was looking at the best, searching for the best schoolboy football team, and I was interviewing a lot of the past players on teams throughout the years from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And I remember when I was speaking to Coach Diggy Henry, and he said to me, Andre, you know, one of the things why we did so well with that team in 1985 is that we had that team together for almost 4 years. And it just jolted something in my head that a lot of the dominant teams in the Manning Cup history have been teams that have been kept together, or even the Costa Cup for that matter, have been kept together for a long period where the players get to develop and get a camaraderie and understanding with each other, knowing how to play the ball, how a player wants a particular pass, and getting that understanding. So, you know, it was a good schoolboy season for me. One of the things, I was made the captain of the All Manning team, and we played the All the Costa team down at Gerrard Park, and we won. That was when Christopher Morgan was announced as the MVP. But I'm telling you, some talented players was on that All Manning team. A lot of them, we ended up playing juveniles together. I see somebody put up that Calabar, that good team. Calabar, that excellent team. Calabar had people like Bowled, Robert Doig, Patrick Poranda, Bugs, who used to play on the wing. Washi used to play midfield. Richie used to keep goal. Sterling. I mean, that great players. And I'm telling you, believe it or not, Mannings, man, all of us still remain friends to this day. You know, whenever we link up, we might not see each other for 20, 30 years, but whenever we link up, we are always close. Daigi Reds, Robert Daig, excellent player from out the Independent City, big baller. Yes. And you know, so it was a joy to play against them.
Somebody asked if Chuchu was on that JC team.
I'm not sure. I remember that JC team was leading, you know, people like Ferdy McKenzie, Ferdy Mac.
Yeah, and the McDonald brother Patcover.
And the McDonald, yeah man, Michael Dunga McDonald and Richard Patcover McDonald, man. Good players, good players.
I know sometimes I want to say, when I hear these stories, I'm convinced that football at the schoolboy level was way more competitive. I remember there's a person in like way more competitive, I guess, because you never had all of these high schools, so the talent wasn't as spread out.
No, it wasn't. It was more concentrated. And guess what? We knew each other, you know, because guess what? A lot of us played minor league. And you know, minor league is a competition in Kingston with the Kingston and St. Andrew football, where under 17 players would play in that minor league. And guess what? There were teams that would be laden with people from all different schools. So, you know, I remember my Mountain View team. We had people from Camperdown. We had people from St. George's Sky. We had people from KC. We had people from Calabar. And the same could be said about that Duane Park team, who had several players from KC, Calabar. I mean, you know, it was a joy to play with a lot of those players. And it really culminated when we were called to the juvenile team. It was 1984. We had a juvenile team. I mean, laden with ballers, man.
You need to tell us about that juvenile team. Is it that you never played like qualifiers? Why we never qualify for anything, or we never had the interest, like the support?
I'm going to give you that story. That story is another teary-eyed story. We were training for about maybe 6 months. You know, we were camping at Up Park Camp. We were at GC Foster. I remember one Easter, we spent the entire Easter down at Cornwall College. We played the United States team in 2 practice matches. We drew 1-1 down at Gerrard Park, and then when we went up to camp, we beat them 1-0. So I mean, a talented team, you know. It was an all-star team, great players, you know. You know, you had players from the Costa Cup, players from Manning Cup. I remember a player named Tenley Johnson from Nepen. We used to play for Veertech. I still see him these days as I coach Humberland, so we still link up. Okay. There was Richard Lynn, who used to play for Dintil, Anthony Laird. I mean, you name it. George Malcolm from Camperdown, Barrington Gainer, Dominique Sparling, Chris Zade, Nick Zade, Michael McDonald, Richard McDonald, Ferdinand McKenzie. I mean, I could go on and on. Talented players. Bugs Paranda. I mean, great players.
This is the juvenile team you're talking
This
about.
was a juvenile team, man.
Wow.
It was coached by Jackie Walters and Steve Buckner. Now, a month before the tournament in Trinidad that year, we were asked, after training for 6 months, we were asked to assemble up at the National Arena to go into camp. And when we went into camp, Happy Sutherland, who was an executive of the Jamaica Football Federation, came to speak to us. So, so we're there waiting on the bus, and we decided that, let us hear. So he came in and said he wanted to speak to the team. And lo and behold, man, they told us that the JFF had missed the entry deadline and we were not going to play in the CONCACAF qualifiers in Trinidad. No, let me tell you something. If you look on the faces of these young men, we were young men at the time, and see the distraught on our faces, because we had been training hard for 6 months and we were preparing. And believe me, I knew we would have done well at that tournament. And to get that bad news at that time was really a major setback. Whoa. I want to tell you, the only silver lining that came out of that, several of those players got football scholarship. I think it was probably the year that the most Manning Cup and the Costa Cup players got football scholarships to go to university overseas. So I think that was the only real silver lining that came out of that disaster.
But,
and it's something that I'll never forget. It really hit me. I mean, I remember talking to Michael McDonald recently from JC, and we said, boy, that was a missed opportunity for a lot of us.
Yeah. What I want to say though, you see it as a silver lining. I think that whole scholarship thing, though it helped in terms of these players matriculating into other areas of society.
Yes.
I think we also lost a generation of players.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. And let me tell you something, Mannings, man. I'm glad you touched on that, We have been doing this from in the 70s. We have lost several generations of players. Players who have gotten scholarships, gone overseas, gotten their degrees, gone to universities, and just get lost in the system. The Jamaica Football Federation never once called them back and say, okay, Paul Newman is in United States, I could call him back and make him play for Jamaica, or, Renchi is keeping goal for Howard University. Let us call him back and let us see if we can get him in the system. Christopher Morgan, I could call so many names that got football scholarships during that period. And they were never called back home to have that continuity and that development. And we lost several generations. I remember Bancroft Garden, excellent player that left here in the 70s, went away. Lon Donaldson is another player, used to play for Kid. These things have been happening for a long time, where players leave Jamaica, get scholarships. And you just never hear anything about them after that. They have never been invited to come back and play for the country. And I think we have lost a wealth of excellent players during that period in the 70s and 80s, where we lost several generations of great players.
Because you actually went away. I mean,
I got a football scholarship too. After my 84 season, I got a football scholarship in 1985. And one of the regrets, I have a whole heap of regrets, so give me a chance. One of my regrets is that in 1985, I didn't stay back at school because I had the age to play Manning Cup again. So, a lot of the players that played on that 84 team.
Don't miss that, because I don't know how because I spoke to a man from KC who said he played Colts with you. Him said, so when I told him I was going to interview you this week, he said, Mannings, man, he's listening right now because he's in the comment section. That guy call out, he said, Mannings, man, I don't know Andre Price big, Yeah, when we play against them, man, they big. See, when you see the man big, man, is but I saw the man look when he man play Colts. I said, really?
Yeah, that's a joke them say. Them say, I remember playing a match, I played a match in Sabina Park in 1984, and one of my friends, was in the stadium, and he was sitting beside this man. I think we were playing KC at the time. And the man said, Andrew Price still a play Manning Cup. About 3, them man they have about 5 baby mother and about 20 picnic. How them still a play Manning Cup? Them boy the bus over age. And you know we had a good laugh about it, you know. But you know, that was I was always you know well built person, you know. So I was a enforcer when I used to play.
Well, get back to the story now about 90. Your regret of not staying back.
Yeah, the regret is that I got a scholarship. Myself and Chris Zade got a scholarship. Chris got a scholarship to Columbia University. I got one to St. Thomas University in Miami, Florida. And a lot of the other players on the team hadn't gotten scholarships yet, and they were staying back. And we were tempted to stay back, but you know, God bless his soul. Dennis Zade said to myself and Chris, I know you want to come back and play Manning Cup again, but guess what? Opportunities knock only once. You could come back, hurt yourself, and never be looked on again and give up an opportunity. So I am telling you both that you should go after school. And we ended up not winning the Manning Cup in 1985 as we lost a final game. All we needed was a draw against, and I stayed away and heard this, and I was very despondent. We lost to Excelsior by 1 goal, where Nick Zade scored a own goal and Michael Faz. I mean, it was basically the same Manning Cup team that won the 84 Triple Championship.
Charlie
except
Smith won that year?
myself. Yeah, except Christopher Zade, myself, and Mark Murray weren't on the team. We had gone off to college.
And they
But
told me
it
that
was
that
the
Charlie Smith
exact
team,
team.
They said that because the Charlie Smith team, was it Camperdown that they beat or Dunoon they beat?
No,
in some penalty?
KC actually beat Excelsior in the finals at year 1 love.
Okay, it was KC.
Yeah, they beat
okay.
Excelsior in the finals at year 1 love. But we had already won the World Cup earlier because they
All right. We just lost the feed.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, so you know,
Walker Cup. You're right.
they won the Walker Cup. Christopher Morgan scoring an excellent free kick against Richie Sterling. Every time I mention the story, I tell Leon Miner that he almost broke Richie's hand in scoring that goal, and we have a good laugh. Leon Juvenile, big up yourself, Leon Juvenile Miner. Bridget from Wayne.
Yes.
Yeah, man, we used to play together, played for Boys Town together, won a lot of trophies at Boys Town together.
People, he has a son as well.
Yes, he has an excellent son that is playing over in Portugal. Portugal, I think it is.
Think he can play under 20?
Yes, good player. Good player. Better than Juvenile.
Well, I don't know about that, but I know his son is playing. And he's very good.
He has a good son playing football. Yeah. But so we lost. So that must have been a little regret. But guess what? Opportunities come back once. My first year at St. Thomas University was good. I played on a team where we won the Sunshine State Championship in Florida. On that team was several Jamaicans. Derek Fobbs, Richard Strawn was our leading goal scorer. Playing alongside him was Richard Bumpy Henlan, who used to go to Calabar and played juvenile for Jamaica. Used to play for Wadada also. So we had a very good team with a lot of Jamaicans. We had some Nigerians. A friend of mine named Larry Mardier used to play right back, and we had a Nigerian goalkeeper. We had an excellent team. So we won the Sunshine State Conference that year, and we progressed in the NCAA. From there, now I left after the coach left from St. Thomas University. I decided to leave and transfer to Florida International University.
FIU.
And going to FIU. Again, I walked up into a lot of Jamaican players, several Jamaican-born players or Jamaican players. on that team. We had people like Robin Fraser, currently the coach of the
Yes,
Toronto team in the MLS. Yes, Robin Fraser. He and I used to play.
Wanted to play for Jamaica as well.
Yeah, wanted to play for Jamaica, but Jamaica snoozed and they lost.
And he
And
played
he
for
ended up
USA.
playing. He ended up playing for the United States and
I want to ask you a
was one of
question
the top.
about that. I want to ask
Yeah.
you a question because I want to finish
Sure.
that. But I ask this because I've talked to like Tyrone Marshall, Andy Williams,
Yes.
Chipper Morgan, Michael Davey, a lot of these guys who did college in the States, and it seemed like I don't know if it is the coaches or the federation, but it seemed like once you're playing college football from a Jamaican perspective, you're not seen as a quality footballer to be called back to represent Jamaica at any level at all. I don't know if that is real
It's a very silly premise because I mean the United States team that qualified for the first World Cup was made up of total college players that we Jamaicans played against throughout our whole college life. The first US team that qualified for the World Cup in recent memory, 1990, was made up of players. I played against a lot of those players who played on that US team that qualified in 1990, and most of the US team were made up of those young players. People like Tab Ramos, I played against him when he used to play for Duke. And, like I said, Robin had the opportunity to play for Jamaica. Nobody called him, so he ended up playing for the United States. And he was voted one of the top 50 players, influential players of in MLS history.
history, yeah.
He's now the coach of the Toronto MLS team. So we had people like Alvin James from out of Mandeville. He was also on my team there. Mark Murray, Mark Barnett, Elias Fiani, a lot of Jamaicans. I mean, I think we had about 8 Jamaicans on that team. And we had a lot of camaraderie and a lot of, we did well.
Yeah. So you completed your time. I mean, but I know during your college time, you used to come back and play games for boys.
Oh, yes. I as a matter of fact, another distress that I had is that 1 year I came back to play for Boys Town in a game to see if we could get to the playoffs of the Premier League while I was going to FIU, and I actually tore up my knee on the turf. Leonard Hyde had taken a free kick and the ball had hit the post, and I was running to the ball, and my cleats got stuck into the field, and I actually tore up my entire knee.
Whoa.
So I out for a year.
So did that affect
both in college? Yeah, entire year, because I had to take a year off to fully rehab.
But it didn't affect your scholarship though?
No, it didn't affect my scholarship because I made them feel that I got the injury in the States and not in Jamaica. So it didn't affect. Yes, Boris, I remember that 91-92 finals between Marvel. It was great playing against you too, my brother. Keep doing the good work that you're doing.
Yeah, man. And I see Robert Sanchez. This is a KC man here saying, correction, KC beat Excelsior 2-1, not 1-0.
Yes, so
Michael Campbell scored, and Ron Headley and Errol Salah Lewis scored for Kingston College.
Yeah, that was the year. That was the finals of in 85. Correct.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. I wasn't here, so it's hearsay I get.
Okay, so
I was disappointed that the team didn't reach the finals.
Yeah. So the first time you won, because you won at the schoolboy level, you won at the college level. The first time you won at Boys Town, did you play for Boys Town while you were at St. George's or when you went to college? You hearing us?
Yeah, repeat that for me, management. I was losing you a while ago.
Right. So with Boys Town, did you play for Boys Town while you were at St. George's, or it was when you were at college that you actually started?
Oh, that brings me to a different story. I wasn't always a Boys Town player.
Oh,
my first National League team was Santos.
See,
Well, I'm going to have to tell you that one. In 1983, after we had won the Money Cup in 1983, through the influence of Dennis Zade, he was very close with Jackie Bell. As you know, the two of them were very close from schoolboy days to the national team. Richard Strachan and I were invited to play for Santos. So as a 17-year-old, I started to play National League for Santos with Richard Strachan, my captain. And we played the National League that year as a 17-year-old. I mean, I was in awe. I was playing with people like Doc McKenzie, people like Howard Josebel, one of the greatest players that ever represented Jamaica. Howard Bell must have played every single position for Jamaica during his long career, except goalkeeper. And he's a wonderful individual.
Who is better,
So-
Dougie Bell, Juicy Bell, or
No.
Neville Bell?
No, Josebel, Howard Josebel, yes. Possibly the best Jamaican player, all-round player that has ever put on a Jamaica shirt. And I say that with no apology. He has played almost every position for the national team except goalkeeper. Whether it is fullback, centre half, centre forward, midfield, Howard Bell has done it. So my first National League game, I played centre half with him for Santos, with people like Ripton White was on that team, Richard Strachan, Roddy Thomas was on that team,
The best
Alan Skill Cole. Let me tell you something.
Winston Carter.
I
was on
can
that
say
team.
as a 17-year-old, I played with Alan Skill Cole for Santos. And that is a moment I'll always treasure. Doc McKenzie, Jamaica national player and a right fullback, also played on that
Winston
team.
Carter playing at that time?
Yes, Winston Carter was playing at that time. You know, Roddy Thomas, all of those players.
Okay.
Chuli, you know, Chuli Spencer, all of them players there I play with. Elder Map, Feather Map, all them man there.
Elder Map actually came up for real because
Elder Map used to play for Volvo, you know, and then he transferred and played for Santos.
Santos, right?
Yes, because remember, you know,
there's
Veer
a
had
match
a,
that Santos came and played. He said down somewhere and
remember, you know, Elder Map played for Veer, and
Veer.
Veer had a strong connection with Santos. A lot of Veer players,
Bob Campbell.
through Bob Campbell, used to
Yeah.
leave Veer and come and play for Santos. So, you know, that's one of the reasons why people like, you know, Chuli Spencer and all those players used to come up and play for Santos.
Okay, so you actually played for Santos at a 17-year-old.
Yes.
I mean,
Play with
so-
Dean Messi Wilmot. One day, Sid Bartlett, because by that time they had dropped out of the Premier League when I was in college, my first year at St. Thomas. So I came back and we played and we won we won the Sid Bartlett to get promoted back up into the
Major League.
the Major League. But then after Jackie Bell died in the summer of '86 with Dennis Zade, when the two of them died in
Right,
Mexico, I decided that, you know, I didn't like the direction that Santos was heading at that time. And one summer we were trying to get fit, myself and Chris Zade, and a friend of ours, Michael Beddy Walker, said he knew where we could get fit. So we said, okay, tell us where now. And he said that he's going to carry us to play some football. So we jumped in the car with him and we were driving. And then I see we're driving down Spanish Town Road and then near Penn Cemetery. I said, where the money I carry me to, sir? Then I see him make a left turn and turn up Collie Smith Drive. I didn't even know that the name of the road at that time was Collie Smith Drive. And we turned into Boys Town. And when we turned into the Boys Town and I saw this crowd of people just sitting down waiting for training to start, I was amazed. As a matter of fact, I was so concerned.
So
I didn't even want to come out of the car.
This is the first time you're actually going into the community of Boys Town?
First time I'm going down to Trench Town. First time in my life. And
Okay.
when we turned in there, I didn't want to come out of the car, and Carl Brown had to come to the car and tell us, "You can't come out, man. Don't believe everything you hear about here. We have good, decent people down here and you don't want to play football. Come." And that was the starting of a love affair with Boys Town, and I fell in love with the whole culture about Boys Town. I like what Father Sherlock stood for, and with the influence of Carl Brown,
From
I'm a color red person for life.
1986.
Yeah, this was in 1987. Yeah.
Yeah, 1987. Whoa.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
once you finish university and you decided to play football, Boys Town would have been the place.
Without a doubt, and after I graduated, I'm one of those players. When I graduated, my parents came up for the graduation, and I had an apartment that I was staying in Miami, and the graduation took place on the Monday evening, and they had come up for the week. So when they had come up for the week, we did the graduation and thing, and we went to dinner and celebration and all that's good. And when I told them in the night that I'm going to Jamaica tomorrow morning because I already bought my ticket, they couldn't believe me. They said, "But we are going to still be here." I said, "Okay, when you're finished, put my things in storage and give the person the key because I am done. I am going back home because I always wanted to come back home." And I came back home in 90 back to Jamaica. When I came back to Jamaica in 1990, Boys Town had been suspended for an incident over by Stadium East where there was an altercation in a game against Waterhouse where
Yes.
players were suspended and the club was suspended for a year. So I wasn't able to play any football for Boys Town that year. So I wanted, just coming out of college, I wanted football. And I lived in the Constant Spring area, very close to Constant Spring. So I decided to go and play for Constant Spring because I had lived in Constant Spring for a long time. And I ended up playing Major League for Constant Spring that year with people like Sixy, people like Woods. And,
Yeah.
we actually won the Major League that year. Constant Spring won the Major League that year, And after we won the Major League that year, Boys Town had the opportunity to come back into the league. So I told Danny that I just wanted to play for one season, and he allowed me. And
Because Danny
he
Lynn
was
is
very
also
nice
at
about
St.
it.
George's connection as
Also
well.
at St. George's
Yeah.
College. And, God rest Danny's soul. When I told Danny I wanted to go back to Boys Town the following year when they were able to come back into the league, he allowed me. And Boys Town was able to win the
In 91.
Major League in 91. So I won the Major League with Constant Spring in 1990 and won it with
Boys Town. Oh, this
Boys
is
Town in
the game
91,
Boris is
back to
talking
back.
about. Boris is talking
Yeah,
about
so-
at Marvel.
Yeah, so that's the one. Yeah, against Marvel. So I won it back to back.
Okay, and then you also got promoted with Boys
I
Town.
also got promoted. I scored the winning goal down at Village, so that brought us back into the Premier League that same year.
Okay, so during this time, are you being called up while you're in college playing for FIU?
Yes, I got some invitations to invited to the national team, but I'm going to be very honest with you, man. At that time, football wasn't paying any money. You were just doing it for love. I remember when I used to play for Boys Town. I remember me and my teammates walking from the National Stadium to Crossroads after a game. And I'm talking about walking. I mean, they would take the bus all the way downtown or to Trenchtown, and I would take the bus and go home to Constant Spring. I mean, there was no money in football, no money at the time. And so, I had gotten a degree and, I decided to go into the professional because I saw that as the only way out for me. And I started to concentrate on my corporate work. And
Okay.
I became the customer service manager at Face Commodity Company on Marcus Garvey Drive. And yes, after work, I would go and play for Boys Town and continue playing for Boys Town. But,
You know
I
what
mean,
is so funny,
I
though?
really didn't have that desire where I would just say, I'm depending on football alone for survival. No, so it wasn't.
And that is
So,
funny
but
because
I got some invitation and some invites to the national team. As a matter of fact, during that period, I played for Kingston Lions in the semi-professional
league,
football
yeah.
league that started the Caribbean Semi-Professional Football League. I played for the Kingston Lions during that period. But
Yeah.
that's about as close as I came.
You know what is so funny though? Like people looking at Boystone at that. You know.
Somebody asking a question, man, is man, going, what's that, Devon Porter?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, Dove Marston a big baller. Nobody can tell me that. Dove Marston is one of the great,
No, but
great
it's what
players.
he's
I
doing,
mean,
though.
outside.
You know what?
Yeah,
you
man.
know what he's doing? He's now comparing.
Yes, I
Dove
see what
Marston-
he's doing, man. I see what he's doing, man. But Juice is still the best all-rounder for me. But Dove was an excellent player. Excellent player. I'll be the first to say it. I want to tell you something. My first game that I was carried to the National Stadium in 1977, Cavaliers played Santos in the National League final. And I was mesmerized by Peter Dove Marston that night. You know, my father carried me to that game in 1977. And I remember Clarence Prentice was playing for Cavaliers at the time. But Dove Marston really mesmerized. I remember this man, very tall, very languid, going through the midfield unbothered. You know, like he always had time in the world. And I was mesmerized by him. He was an excellent player. So Devon, I'm not going to compare the two of them, but Juicy are my baller. But I really love Dove. He was an excellent player.
Yeah, let me just give you some more comments. Damian Hyatt says,
Big up yourself, Damian. I see you're doing some good work at Dudley Wallen. Keep it up, my brother.
Yeah.
Keep it up. Keep working hard.
Yeah,
You'll
yeah,
get your just reward.
Yeah, you know, Ryan was in earlier, healing you up.
Oh,
as
yeah,
well.
man. Ryan, I'm a big
Yeah.
brethren. I'm a little son that, you know, Ryan.
Yeah, right.
Ryan.
Yeah,
The only problem I have is in cheer for Liverpool.
there you go.
So maybe not a big keeper here, man. Kirk Guppyman Porter, I used to keep for Boystown.
There you
Big up
go.
yourself, Kirk Porter.
Yeah,
I had
man.
a pleasure coaching people like Kirk and Michael Bangy Campbell when
Yeah,
I was
man,
at
Bangy,
Boystown.
yeah.
You know those.
I didn't even get to listen. You know who I rate as. I don't even get there. You know, my best keeper from down by Arnott Gun is Alan. You know.
Is Alan Reed. Yeah, not a good keeper. You know, I mean, there's so many. Let me tell you something. Is it Trenchtown? Trenchtown is, I would call, the cultural basket of Jamaica, you know. It's the epicenter of culture. I'm talking about music and sporting figures. You know. That place is just blessed with talent, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, sporting talent, great. Oh, this Gunners Bars first. Hey, let me tell you something, Gunners Bars. You see, Ray Barger, right, was my idol. This was the man that influenced me when I was going to St. George's College. I always wanted to be like Ray Barger, right? And I'm going to tell you something. To this day, Ray and I still communicate on Facebook and we are very close. But believe me, he was my idol while I was going to St. George's College. Devon Roots Lewis, big baller. God rest his soul. The man never used to be able to come to Boystown, but he always had an affinity with me and would always send messages to me while I was playing at Boystown or when he went to the stadium to watch games. So I have a lot of respect for those two individuals.
Yeah, and then Elvis Beaverheart, village goalkeeper. You give me. He say, "Good night to you, management and Coach Price. Don't respect, Coach. Although 2 games you give me, you know. Bless up yourself. This is
Yes, big up yourself, Beaver. Beaver was a goalkeeper with the beach soccer team. I used to coach the national beach soccer team.
yes. He was
Yes.
with Tuffy and
Yeah, with Tuffy and all, and Beaver
yeah.
was Beaver and Porter were the 2 goalkeepers at one time. And yes, Beaver, make you 2 game, man. So give thanks for that, my brother. Big up yourself. You see, man, me have a whole heap of brethren outside Kingston and St. Andrew, you know, because a lot of people think Jamaica is Kingston. But I have a lot of friends in rural Jamaica, especially Western Jamaica. And a lot of them I have met through the sport of football. And, you know, I want to big up all the man in Western Jamaica, all sportsmen out of Western Jamaica. Big up on yourself.
Yeah, man, because we need to, because I don't know, we don't even get to your coaching yet, because we don't talk about some Boystown and Reno game, you know.
Yes, man.
Me, infamous game that as a youth, me there in the From Sports Ground and Boystown come down there and all Zady get all vexed and them thing, them, you know, them things.
Yeah, and dropping pants. Yeah, man, a whole heap of things go on, man. A whole heap of things go on, man. It's man. Hey, Let me tell you something. I remember coming down to Reno and I always said to them, boy, I don't know, Reno look like them have a pipe where they just turn up and the field and just wet up the field. I went sun and shine the field, wet. You know? But you know, we had some good time. And I'm going to tell you something. Man, it's a football. Football is one of the biggest unifying forces in this country, you know. And until the leaders of this country understand the importance of football and what it does in social development and galvanizing people together, they won't take football serious. Believe me.
Yeah.
The amount of friendships that I have had. I know players who are younger than me. I know players who are older than me, that we have remained friends just by the mere fact that we met through football and we established a relationship. So, you know, football is a truly galvanizing sport, and we need to start taking it serious and put proper investment, because it's also big business, and we're not looking at that side of it in a anyway. That's for another day.
Yeah, listen, we need to get into. I love what I said. This is probably Bowser's biggest supporter. So he's asking if we don't see any more baller like Bowser out there.
With a baller car, baller car, me I look every day. Let me tell you something, baller car. My job for the rest of my life is to find more Bowsers, find more Khadija Bunny Shaws, find them and give them an opportunity where they can help their families and where they can help themselves. That is my job for the rest of my life. Football has been so good to me. I've gotten so much out of football. I have met so many dignifying people that I owe it to assist young men and women to achieve their goals and be what they can be. So that is my role for the rest of my life.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to take somebody have said that they have total recall. They say that your ability to remember everything.
No, let me tell you something. I take football serious, you know. I don't know about other people, you know, management. But you see me, I take football serious. I am a walking football. I am a student of the game. My vocabulary is very expansive. I have been watching football from 1977 in Jamaica. And what I don't know, I research. And I take my football very, very, very serious.
Yeah, because one of the debates I've had on my platform, because I don't even want to get into your coaching exploits from female coaching to Boston. We could probably do that at some other point. I just want to talk about your playing thing. But one of the discussion I've had, and I keep saying to people, I do believe that football has improved. Many things have improved. But when I talk about talent, the kind of talent that we had in the 70s and the 80s, I don't think we have that kind of talent now, right? I think the talent back then was great. And then because it was so compressed in terms of the teams that participated, it made it more competitive, though the surfaces was poor. However, I think the players now have greater resources to excel than the players back then. And I think that
you have encapsulated it very well. And let me tell you something. Remember we had this conversation very early when we started the interview, you know.
Yeah.
What has happened is that we have lost a generation. What you're seeing happening now is just the evolution of opportunities. Back in the 70s and 80s, people never have that opportunity. Our national players only got exposed because they migrated, whether out of need, whether out of necessity, and went away. And after they have done that, they wanted to build a life for themselves. The JFF never invited them back, so they never played for Jamaica. But of course, I have this conversation for years. There's a group that I'm in Baltag, and I tell them that we have to start recording the history of our football, because a lot of people believe that it is folklore, and it is not. I have been around long enough through all the decades to know that we had quality players in the 70s and 80s, excellent players who were just devoid of opportunities. And now, as football has become a business and has evolved, there's more opportunities. A young player can now make the national team, get exposure. There's the world of internet, social media. He can be exposed. People can see him on Facebook. People can see him on YouTube. So players can get the opportunity. A scout don't have to come to Jamaica, you know. Him can go on a platform and look at players and track players and decide, look, I like that player. Let us take a chance on him. Let us go and get him. Those things never used to happen in the 70s and 80s. You never have that technology to assist you.
Even in Europe, the amount of players outside of like England was limited. When I checked in the 70s and the 80s at Arsenal, it was a lot of English homegrown players. The evolution of that started in the 90s, which would mean that people, especially in the Caribbean, would be deprived of the opportunity. And like I said, what happened then, people start, like, it's just like, listen, if I can't go anywhere except outside of Jamaica, I'm not getting the resources because there's nobody who played the game in Jamaica in those times, in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, who got rich playing football in Jamaica.
No, exactly. And that is one of the reasons when I came back from school, I decided to concentrate on my professional and corporate career. Because I believe that there was nothing that you could get out of football. Footballers never start being even paid, thought of as professionals until the late 90s. You know, that never used to take place. Look here, man. If when you finish, you can buy a Sky Juice or eat a bun and cheese and walk go crossroads, you have done well. You could have win Major League, National League. You still have to walk, go stadium and take a bus and go home. Things have changed. You know, things have evolved. Times have passed. And what happened that now more resources are being put in football now than was put in football back in the day. But I still say that I think we lost a generation of players. And we have to make youngsters understand that we have to document these things, because guess what? History will be lost if we don't start documenting these things, because people going to think it's folklore. I keep telling people that. You know, when people talk about, Herbert Diego Garden and talk about Alan Cole, it's not folklore. These players were excellent players.
Listen, I remember.
And a lot of players that we're talking about now and getting excited about can't even walk in them boots.
I told somebody that Calvin Wappy Valentine that played for Reno.
Big baller. And let me tell you something. A lot of people don't even know Wappy was a good fast bowler.
One of the fastest. He was the fastest youngster.
And played Jamaica Youth. Played Jamaica Youth cricket, Benson and his youth cricket.
Yeah, I said to these people, like, listen, I have not seen in the last 10 years in our Manning Cup or the Costa Cup a player who can pass the ball like him.
Believe me, Wappy was a big player, man. We had great players, man. You know, Peter Cargill. Let me tell you something. People believe that football in Jamaica started in 1998. Crap. There are talented players in the 60s. There are talented players in the 70s. And football must be judged on eras. It can't be judged just on present tense. You know, you had great players. And that is why when I look at players, I look at players in a particular era and who they competed against.
Exactly.
You have to look at them against their contemporaries. You can't look like a Walter Boyd and compare a Walter Boyd with a Herbert Diego Garden. They are two different players in two different eras. And it is not right to compare them.
Yeah. Listen, there are so many comments and stuff. Somebody just run through. Carl Roy is asking if you had a chance to play with Ali McNabb. I think so.
Yes, man, of course. I played with Ali McNabb. Yes. Sammy D. Yeah, I played with Sammy D.
I think he's asking.
All those guys I play with. Sammy D, Trevor Harsey, Francis, Donovan Panton, Donovan Downer, Joe Downer, Milton Hardware, the Hardware brothers, Lenny Hyde, Boomer Hyde, you name them, Jimmy Barnes, all of them man there. Play with all of them man there.
Move from Oxford, Stratton, Raymond, AK, Alaska, all this kind of name. But let me get a couple more. Say Andrew Edwards here saying blessed love, big brother Andrew. This is Coach Andrew Edwards.
Big up yourself, Coach Andrew Edwards. Big up yourself. Another very good coach, Andrew Edwards, doing some good work.
In the small islands. Coach was
well, Andrew is actually back in Jamaica right now, so he's doing some work with his.
Yeah.
Yeah, Omar is away. He's doing some work with his Genesis Academy, you know. So I want to big up Andrew. Go on, do your thing, my brother.
Coach was my brother father while playing for Boys Town. Carlos Gabas.
Yes, man. Grabbers, the big ball and grabbers. Hey, when grabbers just come aboard, so them could even walk properly, you know. And when we done with Grabbers was one of the best man markers in Jamaica. Very good player. I have a whole heap of respect for Grabbers. Big up yourself, Grabbers.
Yeah, man. Listen, so surprise, we have to do it. We are at 1 hour and a half. But we have to do an extra. We talk about your coaching, and just all of that. But what I want to, you have one at the club level, one at the high school level. Never played a whole lot for the national team, which continues to be one of the issues with me because I think Mr. Porter said it earlier. You're part of the football. What can be done to help better track our younger players from under 15 or under 17 to at least know where they are and to at least keep them, so just in case we need them, we can find them.
We have to have a proper development program, man. And we have to have a list where we keep players and we track them, a database where we know where they are moved to. If a youngster get a scholarship and go overseas, we must know which college him go. We must know him coach. We must know how to contact him if we need him. And we need to track the players. Players cannot just be lost in the system. Talent can't be just be lost in the system. You're a good Manning Cup player, you get a scholarship and you go overseas and we just forget about the player. And he was a good youth player. We must track his progress. Look at what he's doing. Invite him, have camps, bring him home. They could take a look at him and see if he has improved from a schoolboy level now that he's playing senior football. Our tracking of our players is poor and has been poor for years, and we have to improve that. Whether male or female, we must know where all our talent are and how they are progressing. It is an indictment on us for not doing it because we are losing. You hear them have a thing called brain drain. We also have skill drain when it comes to football in this country because people leave the shores of this island and sometimes we forget about them and we are not concerned to find out where they are, how they are developing, what is happening with them. And we're losing a lot of talented players that way.
Yeah, it's like I think about even Alan Reed as one of those players because he was part of the youth setup. I think he went to one of the youth, I think under 20 World Cup.
Yes, he went to under 20 World. He was the deputy to
Alain Whittaker.
To the best goalkeeper in that World Cup tournament in Argentina. Yeah, he was a deputy. Alan Reed was a deputy.
And I said sometimes I think about those things. This is the issue. Like what happened, what and this, like I said, there needs to be some sort of database and somebody assigned to doing this kind of tracking.
I don't know what you would want to call a person as the national scout or whoever that individual, but that person's primary role is to track local players that were developed here, have gone overseas, whether they play for a club, whether they play for a college, and track their progress so we can keep them together. We can keep them together so that we can have some continuity, and I'm talking about from the grassroots level. So when players matriculate from under 13 to under 15 to under 17 to under 20, we must know where they are. We must know their progress. We must know what height they were at age 15, what height they are now at age 18. Have they developed? Have they lost weight? Have they gained weight? Have they put on muscle mass? Are they stronger? We need to know these things. We have to get scientific. We have to keep up with the rest of the world, or we're going to be left behind.
Yep. And then listen, the other thing as well is what I think Andrew Edwards and Travis Spessa, something Gunners boss alluded to, is that back in your time, and there a lot more football was being played. You had it at at the Coles, Pepsi, you had minor league.
Outside of even schoolboy football, because I believe one of Jamaica's greatest failures is our over-dependence on schoolboy football to select the best national youth players. Players must be assigned to clubs. Players must play for clubs. Schoolboy football is only 3 months out of the year. Football development is not 3 months, and you only go and play 3 months if your team does well. Football development is year long, so you have to attach yourself to a club after the Manning Cup, after the Coles, after the Pepsi season is finished. Players who are inclined to play football must attach themselves to a club where they can continue their development year long, and we're not doing that. We are over dependent on schoolboy football to select the nucleus of our national team, and it's a retrograde step. We have to move forward in going to the club level. Back in the late 80s, you had Ken Machos, under 14.
14.
You had Bob West. You had a lot of football being played in Kingston in particular. A lot of youth football, minor league. You know, you used to have some leagues that used to play around Mona and Duane Park and all those leagues there, the Albion League, where a lot of young quality players used to play.
And what I want to tell you this is that when Clarendon was producing, all of these ballers were going to
under John Green, and let us not forget John Green used to play a tournament in Clarendon.
There you go.
That's where he unearthed so many Winston Fanner Griffiths and Christopher Dawes and all those players came out of that brainchild of John Green. God rest his soul, but he used to play a lot of youth tournaments down there.
Yeah. So we're going to have a discussion on that, on the part. We have to do a part 2, so you're going to have to give me a day for a part 2.
Sure.
Here's what happened now, because Peso now and Andrew Edwards are having a conversation, and Andrew Edwards actually agreed with him, saying you're talking facts, and by expansion, Jamaica football is strongest when Western Jamaica football is strong. Also, Reno, Seba, Mobile United, what are the valid kickers? And I think the truth is, the football will be stronger when more parishes are playing it at a competitive level.
Correct. And it has to start at the grassroots level. It has to start at the grassroots level and just not at the senior level. You know, we have to be playing football for girls and boys from the grassroots level. Then we matriculate through the various age groups. But we have to be serious and want to spend the money to put on these tournaments and have the children playing. You know, I went to Brazil on a football course, you know, and one of the things that I learned in Brazil, you know, schoolboy football don't mean nothing to people in Brazil. It is club football that drives football in Brazil. Schoolboy football is extracurricular activity. You go to school to learn. You go to school to be educated. And the extracurricular activity is participating in netball or participating in cricket or participating in football. If you want to be a professional football, you must attach yourself to a club so that you can develop your skills and get better.
2 things with that. In the top football in nation, if you play high school football, it's because you're not good. Number 1.
Correct. Because you're not good enough to get into a club. So you're not good enough to be an apprentice at a club or an academy.
So you have to play high school football.
Exactly.
That's part of the thing that we need to, like I said, where I agree with you, that needs to be done. But then I see Neil saying that why isn't that mandatory for the GFF at the very least? If a local baller leaves the country to play football, they should be on the GFF radar, right? And then
you're asking the wrong person that question, Neil, because let me tell you something. The fact of the matter is that we have lost too many footballers in the system, and that's a fact. And nobody can say that it doesn't happen. We have lost too many talented players in the system, whether they have gotten neglectful about the sport and not taking it serious anymore because we don't show any appreciation or any interest in them. Whatever the case, the fact of the matter is that we have to track our talent. We can't have a talent drain where talent just goes overseas. Let me tell you something. Did you know that there was a possibility that George Weah's son could have played for Jamaica?
Yep.
As a matter of fact, he could have played for 3 different countries.
Yeah.
He could have played for United States. His mother is Jamaican. He could have played for Jamaica. He could have played for Liberia. But he chose Jamaica because guess what? He got an opportunity. Did Jamaica show any interest in Timothy Weah? No, we didn't.
No.
Timothy Weah now is playing for United States and beating us.
Yep. I can give you. Listen, I have a young lady that I interviewed, who could have, and this is kind of funny. I don't want to get into it because I guess we learn from things that we do wrong. But I interviewed her. She wants to play for Jamaica. For whatever reason, she was not a part of the under 20 pool, but she's leaving the United States to go to Barcelona at 16 years old to be a part of the Barcelona senior women's team and couldn't make the Jamaica U20 team. And now she's been called by the USA when she wanted to play for Jamaica. Like, we
Look
have
here.
to find a way to not let
And
those things happen.
I can give you several stories of a lot of players in Canada who play for the Canadian national team. The Canadian national team is probably the number 5th ranked team in the world at this point in time. Half of the team are from Jamaican parentage. When I was at the 2019 World Cup, I met Khadija that plays central defense for Canada and Olympic Lyonnais. And her mother is Jamaican. And she said, my daughter did want to play for Jamaica, you know. But nobody never get back to me. And now she's one of the top defenders in the world, playing for Olympic Lyonnais, and she plays for Canada. So we're I'm telling you, we are losing a lot of talent. And Andrew, whether you want to call it talent development manager, scout, anything you want to call it, it needs to be done. Somebody needs to get that responsibility and deal with it in a proper manner where we harness the talent and we are able to track our players wherever they are in the world, whether they are in Siberia, whether they are in Ukraine, whether they are in Russia. If them can play football and them can help the country, we must at least reach out to them.
Yeah. Listen, say there's so many, but listen, people are not going to tempt me, you know. Me now, Mr. Price of training, you understand, because Humble Lion up in them game, you know, and we need to go get some rest for deal with the team. But somebody was asking, Gunner's boss was asking, I'll take this one comment, and I know one of your fans want to call in, so I've told him that they can call in and speak to you as a surprise. But Gunner's boss was asking about the AstroTurf.
Yes.
Let me just see if I can find this comment. Where is the comment? Gunner's boss. He was asking about the use of AstroTurf in terms of the quality of play and its effect. Right, here it is. He says, what's your views on AstroTurf versus natural grass when it comes to injuries to athletes other than turf tools, other than having turf tool?
Well, Gunner's boss, I want to tell you something. The AstroTurfs that are made now these days are a lot different from those in the past, and because of technology they have been enhanced and a lot of countries are using it. Even in the MLS, most of the MLS teams in the United States, because of the harsh weather conditions, most of their fields are AstroTurf, and it depends on the type of material that you use. One thing I can tell you, currently in the Premier League, one of the good things about that turf, it may be a little bit hard on the legs, but the football looks a lot better because you're playing on a surface where the ball rolls very true and you can move the ball and knock it around. So what we need to do is to improve the quality of our fields, and even grass fields, we need to improve it. If we look on our grass surfaces in Jamaica, there are only about 3 to 4 fields that are up to standard, and that includes the National Stadium, Sabina Park, and Stadium East. Those are the 3 best natural grass surfaces that we have in Jamaica. And the only way players are going to improve, even from the grassroots level all the way up, is if they start training on natural surface where they can develop good habits and good technical skills. And you need proper facilities and services to do that. So between the government, the Jamaica Football Federation, private sector interests, we need to go on a project of developing good football surfaces across Jamaica so that we can harness the talent that we have here.
All right, so we have a call from one of your big goalkeepers. Go ahead. Go ahead, big keeper. Hello. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Ryan, I don't think we're not hearing you, you know.
Who that Ryan Liverpool?
All right, let me see if we can reconnect. Let's see if we can reconnect with Ryan, because Ryan
All
wants
right.
to speak to the big want to speak to the coach to make sure we have all our things set up. All right, because Ryan, I have to call in. Yes, go ahead, Ryan.
Good evening. Mr.
Good evening, Ryan.
Good evening.
Big up yourself, my brethren. Color red,
Listen,
man.
I want
Liverpool and Boys
Listen.
Town.
Sir Price, I want to thank you over the years, the great work you has done for the Boystown community. And I want to give you a special thank you for all the education, the lunch money, the food, you and Delroy, Coach Carl Brown, all of you guys have done a great community Town. But Boystown sending me to Excelsior, I am grateful for it. And you were a big part of that. You and Delroy and Coach Carl Brown, I want to thank you for everything. Lunch money, breakfast, dinner, and lunch. I get everything in one when I leave from a come home from Excelsior at evening time. So I want to thank you for everything. Really, really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart.
I tell you over and over, Ryan, you don't have to thank me. You don't have to thank me, but right? Because when I see what you have done and what you have developed and how you have developed over the time, hey, this man have one of the biggest YouTube channel in the world,
Yeah,
you
man.
hear him talking, him big, him
mistake-
Liverpool FC thing,
Yeah, man. One mistake he made.
It's a big thing, him have, It's just a rank club him there,
Yeah,
but
rank club.
other than that, him good. But it's a red team. It's a red team, so we have to give him little kudos for that.
Listen, my question to you, because, Dear God is my uncle and Windy is my uncle and you're part of the family. Which one of them you learn the most from? Diego was the assistant coach. I know both of them are great. I just want to know which one of them have the IQ. Diego always says him, he says always him. Which one of them you do?
Let me tell you something. God rest both of them souls. They were two amazing individuals. Richard Windy Jackson, who I'd consider my contemporary, he had a great football mind. I enjoyed playing with him. I enjoyed coaching with him. And then after he stopped coaching the team, Diego came back to Jamaica and started to assist me with the team. And I learned so much from Diego. Diego was an unbelievable player. He was one of my idols when I was growing up as a footballer. I remember when I used to go to watch Boys Town at the National Stadium. I remember Harborview leading 2-0. Manish Water start cook sound system start string up out of Harborview because Harborview feel them gone with it. People walk out of the National Stadium or walk across roads, and Diego Garden and Thomas McLean in the nick of time turn around the game and Boys Town end up winning the game on penalties. So Diego has been my idol for. I'm a confidant, I'm a friend. We used to travel together when we're going to matches, me and him drive together. He was a great, just like Windy, we were very close. And I learned a lot from both. And one of the things I can tell you, Ryan, I have learned about coaching people through so many coaches that I have been involved in. And I have met so many coaches. The Dennis Zaydes, the Jackie Bell, the Carl Browns, the Leighton Duncans, the Bradley Stewarts, the Winston Chung Fa. I have been around so many, and every one of them, you take something from them and you try to put it all together and be the person that you are. And I think I'm a little of all of them because I have learned so much from all these coaches. And even my contemporaries, people I am around, a little man who him love DJ, Admiral Bailey. Not a good
Yeah.
football mind out there. So
Yes.
good football mind, Admiral Bailey. There's Steve Buckner, Jackie Walters. Oh God, I have so much respect for Jackie Walters. I call him Coach Zagallo. Great coach. So I have learned a lot from all of these coaches, and I try to have my own way and my own philosophy of coaching. But I take a lot of their kudos and try and wrap them up in trying to coach. But I've learned a lot from them, and they were two great individuals, and God rest their soul. I really miss them.
Yeah, man.
All right, thanks, Mannings, man. I really appreciate it. Continue with the great job, Reggie. You do a great job.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. Look up to you. So big
Yeah,
up
man.
yourself. But one thing before we leave, Mannings.
Next.
So Ryan, before you leave, I just want to ask you one question.
Hey, Ryan.
You think
Ryan.
Liverpool? You think
Hold on.
Liverpool going to take the 4?
No, what are they? I'd ask him next week Wednesday, you know, Ryan. I'm on your show around 4:30 next week Wednesday, you know.
Yeah, do what?
Next week Wednesday, when you come to the Emirates, I'll call you 4:30, you know.
Reggie, no matter with that.
Hey, management. Just humble yourself, man. That's nothing to the man now. Wait till the match done, we talk to him, man.
Yeah,
Wait till the match done, we talk to him, man.
Yeah, man. All right, blessings, right. Keep up the good work, bro. Always love, a lot of love.
Thank you, man. And big up the Kirk Porter. Everybody don't commit.
Yeah, man. Big up the Kirk Porter, for true.
Yeah, man. All right, so surprise. There's so many comments, right? So we're gonna have to do a part 2 because I don't want to go beyond a certain time. But here's what I want to do. I don't know. There are so many comments. I don't know if at some point you can watch bits and pieces and then look at it, because a lot of it is about coaching and football, more from a management, not a playing perspective.
Yeah.
And I know your views are, you have a wide vocabulary, vast knowledge, and I'd love for you to come back and then. Because I want to also invite like Andrew Edwards and just have a discussion with you and him.
Anytime,
you understand me? Just to educate people so we can probably find a way of not just talking about formulating the thing, but actually formulating some way of tracking like the talent, some way of giving advice that can help with the development. We may not be able to tell a person what to do, but by presenting the information, if they listen, they can learn what to do. And
it will be my pleasure. It will be my pleasure to do that, to have that discussion. Because, we have to sit down and talk, We have to put away the egos and the one-man-upmanship and talk, the real talk, the talk that will help develop the sport. Because guess what? Too many people love the sport. Jamaica come in like Brazil, They love football. We don't have a football culture, but we love football. And until we get a football culture, we're not going to treat the sport the way it deserves.
Yeah. And I St. George's, man, just want to remind you that when they're talking about fields, they never mention St. George's.
And my apologies to all Georgians. Of course, Winchester Park is one of the best fields in Jamaica. My apologies, without a doubt. And I assisted in creating that field. So I shouldn't have left it out.
All right, listen, and then we don't have to do something, but I remember a few years ago, I felt like Coliseum Drive had one of the best surfaces with the fence and the stands.
True.
I hear that it's not in good condition. And
no, it is not. We had some problems with the
pump. I understand there was some
associated with electricity, and because of that, it broke down the irrigation. But yes, I must give kudos to people like Omar Davis and Junior Lincoln that at one stage, Boys Town football field was one of the best fields. I remember Teagat Davis coming down there when both of us qualified for the Premier League, SEBA and Boys Town that year, when he said, boy, this is one of the best fields that he has played on. So we hope to get it back to its former glory in the not too distant future, and hope to have it green and looking lush very soon.
Yeah, man. All right. So final comment. We have one more person. He's a junglist, supports Arnett Garden. So I don't know why he's calling the Boys Town coach. But go ahead, Gunners boss. Hello? Let's see. Let me see if we can get Gunners boss. Don't know what happened there. Oh, there you go. Yes, Gunners boss.
Yeah, you hear me now?
Yeah, man, we're hearing you. Go ahead and talk to Mr. Price.
Yeah, big up yourself, Mr. Price.
Big up yourself, Gunners boss.
Yeah, man, I one thing I want to tell you, you know. The last time I did at Jamaica in 2013, 2014, Virgin, and I passed down a Boys Town, and I say it before right here, so I don't know if fight man is man that refer to, and that's why I call, because I say, I now make him steal my thunder, you see? And the place in the deplorable condition, Virgin, and I say, them play that the place you know is a museum for their Boys Town if no football now play. They have all the history where they so develop, you know. But we don't need this up to come back up, it not to go down. And that me I talk about. You see it. So man them have to come together because some strong man come out of Boys Town thing, you know, Carl Brown and the man them have to come up together and do something and make that place to come back up. Yes, when I say make it become the place where when you did come the first time and come out of your car, you never want to come out of your car because it was here. So market goat have to come dry out of the car. You see me?
Yes. Yes, my brother. Let me tell you something. Gunners boss, we really want it come back to that glory, you know, because let me tell you something. Some of the big games that used to play up at Tony Sparling, but some big games used to play down at Cali Smith Drive. Even when Arnett Gardens come down at Cali Smith Drive and play upon a lush green field, we used to have some nice games down there, you know. So it's something that we have to work on. It, you know, it take a whole heap of investment and a whole heap of time, but we definitely have to work to get it back to it past glory. And yes, there needs to be some upliftment in the infrastructure. And you know, we'll get it together.
Yeah, man, a landmark that man, that a landmark on Cali Smith Drive that you have to look like you have to
without a doubt. Well, I tell people, you know, my brethren, Trenchtown.
The mall is them. The mall is them.
Trenchtown is the cultural bastion of Jamaica, you know, and we have to give it credit.
Andrew, Mr. Price, I know your views are man's man.
Yeah, man.
This I say.
Yes, sir.
The mall is them. The mall is them to listen to. I am sure sports. I know. So listen. I feel no place, Mr. Mall. You know, to do something over Boys Town and build up back there. So you see it. And me, I said
yes,
that.
My brother.
Know, my view. Because we can't do it. We want to see the thing build up back. And some man will drop a little thing, but I man them will have the money and want to see the thing. Don't make it go down, please. It look too good.
I agree with you, my brother. And you're not shouting. You're not shouting in the wilderness. A lot of people are saying the same things, and it's something that we have to work on seriously.
Yeah, man. So you don't know. I like where you go and do your thing, you know. I tell you see me spot Garrel, heal her up the pine. I hear that.
All right, my brother. I will.
All right.
Yeah,
people.
Man. Big up yourself, my general.
Yeah, this people.
Big up yourself, my brother.
That is fine. We always hear call on the radio, but
yes, man. Let me know, man. Hey, I may not call those programs, you know, but I listen to them.
Yeah. All right. So, surprise, you have to do this again. And just like I said, have that discussion. We're talking about more the management side of football. But I really want to thank you for your time and keep up the good work with the Humble Lion team. You know, because a lot of people say, "Oh, mine is one Humble Lion too." Always say, "Listen, Mr. Price, I gonna get it right. The price is right this season."
Hey, man is man. You just keep the secret. Remember, we have a second round secret. You know, you just keep that secret there. Yeah.
Let me tell them on them long time, you know. But I tell them on them that watch Humble Lion team. It was hard to adjust to the new surface. The players were old. They were not training. Watch what I gonna go on this season. You know, but we shall see.
Keep it quiet.
Yeah, man. But thank you so much for your time this
evening. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah,
I mean, it took a long time for it to happen, but them said nothing doesn't happen before it's time. And I'm glad you invited me, and I'm glad that I was here to participate, and I'm glad that the listeners and viewers were able to participate. And we all love football, and that is why we are here. So keep up the good work that you're doing, man, and bless you, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, you're welcome. And I will make sure that next week when I'm talking to Mr. Alexander, I send this video to you.
Claggy. Yeah, man, my brethren. Big up yourself, Claggy.
Yeah, man. All right. So blessings. Have a wonderful night to your family, sir. And we will be in touch. We will be in touch, Mr.
All
Price.
right, man.
Thanks
It's man.
again.
Thanks for having me. All the best.
Yeah,
God
yeah, man.
bless.
Yeah. All right, there you go, people. Thank you so much to every single one of you. Thanks to Mr. Price for taking the time out. We are always very grateful because there are other things that people could do, but he took the time out to come and share with you his story, his journey. Fascinating, accomplished a whole lot. You know, I hope some young footballer will hear this. Completed college. And so when football wasn't providing the finances, he was able to use his college education that was provided through a footballing scholarship to be able to take care of his finances. So in the future, he could reinvest in football. So even if you don't become the world-class footballer, you can use football to earn world-class money. I want you to remember that. So whether you become the best footballer or not, it can put you in a place where financially you're stable enough to help others, make your family better, and make your life better. Get that, right? Adversity, challenges, but still fighting the fight. Still out there. Great mind. Watch the game. He studied the game. Reads a lot. All of these things are important. Don't just watch it on TV. Get the books. Hear from others. Learn from others. That's how you grow in the game. Learn the history. Like he said, it's not folklore. These are real people in the past. And we need to study and know the history. Because until we appreciate what the forerunners did to set the standard for today, we will never matriculate in the kind of footballing nation that we want to be. Don't forget where you're coming from, lest you don't get to where you want to go to. Remember that. I want to thank you, and we're going to do a part 2. We're going to have more conversations like this to enlighten you. Please stay safe. I encourage you, find a way of adding value to somebody's life. It may be a good deed or a word of encouragement, but Jamaica can change if you become a part of the change. And how do you do it? Do the good you can to the people you can in the times that you can, looking for no reward. Just do good. Have a good night. I'm Manny's Man. Thank you for being a part of this I Am Sure Sports broadcast. Have a blessed night, one and all.